As she entered her 20th year of marriage, Sarah had come to understand one bone-deep truth. While the feeling of love could cool in an instant, the slow, agonizing collapse of a once solid trust was a brutal, creeping decay. "Honey, I've got a client dinner tonight," her husband, Michael, said casually, adjusting the perfectly ironed tie in front of the hallway mirror. "It's with the new team from the West Coast, so it's probably going to run late." Sarah, who was washing dishes in the kitchen, paused and turned her head. "Again? Michael, isn't this the third late-night dinner this week? You need to think about your health." With a sigh of annoyance, Michael walked towards the front door. "It's a last-minute thing with a major account. What am I supposed to do? This is just part of corporate life. You work in a big company. You should get it. I'm heading out." The click of the front door was followed by a heavy silence. Sarah ripped off her rubber gloves and stared at the calendar hanging by the refrigerator. 3 days were circled in red all nights Michael had claimed to work dinner and come home late. There were also 2 blue circles. Those were the nights he called it a networking event and stumbled home in the early hours of the morning. With a trembling hand, Sarah picked up her phone and opened a password-protected notes app she kept hidden in a folder. In it, a meticulous log detailed Michael's activities by date. November 3rd. Claimed client dinner. Home at 2 a.m. His suit reeked of a strong, sweet perfume I don't wear. November 10th. Said it was a meeting with investors. Home at 1 a.m. Found a bright red lipstick smudge on his shirt collar. November 17th. Sudden team-building event. Home at 3 a.m. Credit card statement showed a charge from a boutique hotel in downtown Manhattan. Sarah clutched the phone to her chest and let out a long, shaky breath. Her lips quivered. "Here we go again," she whispered. "You really never change." The truth was, the exact same thing had happened last year. The increasingly frequent work dinners, the ever-later return times, the unfamiliar scents. It had all culminated in Sarah confronting him, and Michael's affair came to light. He had fallen to his knees at her feet, a blubbering mess of tears and apologies. "Sarah, I must have been crazy. I swear it'll never happen again. Please, just give me one more chance. You know I can't live without you." For the sake of their children, and for the 20 years they had invested, Sarah had forgiven him. Or more accurately, she had pretended to forgive him, choosing to bury it. But just as a shattered glass, however carefully glued, can never be whole again, the seeds of mistrust in Sarah's heart had sprouted like poisonous mushrooms. And now, exactly 1 year later, as if on schedule, Michael's shameless behavior was repeating itself. On a peaceful Saturday afternoon, Sarah was relaxing on the living room couch when her phone buzzed loudly. It was her mother-in-law, Brenda. "Sarah, it's me. I need you and Michael to come over this weekend. I have something to tell you both, and it's wonderful news, so don't be late." "Okay, Brenda. You sound so excited. What's the good news?" "You'll see when you get here. It's a huge blessing for our family." "Bye now." The call ended abruptly. Sarah walked over to Michael, who was sprawled on the other end of the sofa, flicking through TV channels. "Your mom wants us to come over this weekend. Did you hear anything about what's going on?" Michael, his eyes glued to the screen, answered dismissively. "Nope, no idea. But if she says it's good news, maybe she's finally going to make her famous brisket." But a familiar sense of dread crept into the corner of Sarah's mind. Whenever her mother-in-law announced good news, it was invariably followed by a situation that required Sarah's wallet to open. That Saturday afternoon, the couple arrived at the in-laws' house in the suburbs with a heavy basket of expensive fruit. As soon as they stepped inside, Brenda rushed out to greet them with a beaming smile. "You're here. I thought my neck would break from looking out the window for you. Jessica is on her way, so have a seat." The coffee table was laden with imported fruits and gourmet pastries they never usually had. Brenda, practically bursting with excitement, chattered on. "Sarah, there's a very special reason I called you here today. Our family has been blessed with a miracle." "What is it, Brenda?" "The suspense is killing me," Sarah asked cautiously. Brenda set down her teacup, her expression triumphant. "Our Jessica is finally getting married, and to a very prominent family, no less." "Really? That's wonderful. Congratulations." "She finally found her person," Sarah said, offering a genuine smile. Beside her, Michael's eyes widened. "Wow, that's amazing. We were all getting so worried, with her being over 40. "Who's the guy?" "You won't believe it. He's a university professor. A wonderful man, just the right age, and he treats Jessica like she's made of gold." Just then, the sound of the front door's keypad beeped, and Michael's sister, Jessica, strode in, a designer handbag slung over her shoulder. "Mom, I'm here." "Oh, Michael and Sarah, you're already here." "Jessica, congratulations." Sarah stood up and took her hands. "I just heard the news. I'm so happy you met someone wonderful." Jessica tilted her chin up with a smug little smile. "Thanks, Sarah. I finally found my match. We're thinking of a spring wedding. There's so much to plan, though." As they sat around the table drinking tea, Brenda casually asked about honeymoon plans. As if on cue, Jessica launched into a spectacular vision. "Mom, we're going to Europe for the honeymoon. A 2-week trip, focusing on Italy and France. We'll start in Rome, then Florence and Venice, and finish with some serious shopping in Paris." "Oh my, Europe, how glamorous." "Our Jessica really is in a different league," Brenda gushed. But Sarah was already doing a mental calculation. A newly appointed assistant professor in his mid-40s, a trip of that scale would be incredibly expensive. "Jessica, a 2-week European trip like that will cost a fortune. Are you sure that's feasible? With inflation and everything, it's so expensive these days." At Sarah's practical question, Jessica's brow furrowed slightly. "Well, that's why it's a bit stressful. I want to book 5-star hotels everywhere, and we have to fly business class. I mean, a professor's wife can't exactly be seen crammed in economy, can she?" Seizing the moment, Brenda quickly reached over and grabbed Sarah's hand. "Sarah, you know Jessica is our precious daughter. This is a once-in-a-lifetime wedding, and I want her to have a honeymoon that she'll never forget. One that nobody can look down on. You understand, don't you?" A cold chill ran down Sarah's spine. She adjusted her teacup. "Of course. A honeymoon creates memories that last a lifetime." "Exactly. That's what I'm saying. So, Sarah, I was thinking you should help out in a big way for Jessica's wedding. Your finances are quite comfortable. After all, Brenda, we have our kids' college funds, and the mortgage. Our expenses are significant too," Sarah said, trying to draw a line. Brenda's expression instantly hardened, her voice dropping. "Aren't you a senior manager at that big tech company? I heard your salary is well into the 6 figures. Are you really going to be stingy about your only sister-in-law's wedding? Michael doesn't earn nearly as much, so as the responsible one in the family, you need to step up." Sarah felt a tightness in her chest. "Brenda, my salary might seem high, but after taxes and the kids' private school tuition, there isn't much left over. And don't you remember our honeymoon? All we could afford was 3 days in the Florida Keys." Jessica chimed in with a sneer. "Sarah, that was then. This is now. You've probably never even been to Europe, so I guess you just don't understand. I have a certain status to maintain as a professor's wife." Michael, clearly uncomfortable, stared down at the floor and said nothing. Brenda delivered her final verdict as if it were a royal decree. "Sarah, I won't mince words. This is what family is for. You will cover Jessica's flights and hotels. That is your duty as her sister-in-law. Understood?" Instead of answering, Sarah quietly excused herself. Locking the bathroom door, she looked in the mirror at her own face, twisted with anger and despair. With a trembling hand, she took out her phone, opened her notes app, and added a new entry. November 21st. Mother-in-law and sister-in-law demand I pay for a European honeymoon in full. Husband, Michael, remains silent and complicit. Sarah splashed cold water on her face, trying to compose herself. "You people have picked the wrong person," she thought. "You really think you can take my money that easily?" In the mirror, the reflection of Sarah's eyes glinted with a cold, steely light she hadn't seen before. The whirlwind weekend passed, and Monday morning arrived. Sarah was buried in a mountain of work when her phone buzzed with a message notification. It was her sister-in-law, Jessica. "Sarah, I finally finished the honeymoon itinerary. I put so much thought into it. You have to take a look. Isn't it just divine?" Attached to the cheerful message was an Excel file. With a sense of foreboding, Sarah opened it. As she scrolled down, her eyes widened in disbelief. This wasn't a honeymoon itinerary. It was a plan for a royal tour. Day 1. Non-stop. Business class from JFK to Rome. Check into a suite at the Rome Cavalieri, a Waldorf Astoria hotel. Days 2 to 3. Private tour of Rome's historical sites and a dedicated guide for the Vatican. Day 4. Travel to Florence. Check into a deluxe room at the Four Seasons Hotel Firenze. Sarah kept scrolling, her heart pounding. The trip spanned 14 days, a grand tour through Rome, Florence, Venice, and Milan, culminating in Paris. The list of accommodations read like a who's who of Europe's most luxurious hotels. And there, at the very bottom of the file, was the final estimated cost that made her stomach drop. Total estimated cost, approx. $18,000. Includes airfare, accommodations, all meals, and shopping budget. Sarah dropped her phone onto her desk with a thud. Whiz. Whiz. $18,000. Is she out of her mind? It's someone else's money, so she's just going all out. Sarah took a deep breath, fighting to control the rage boiling inside her. That evening, Michael came home earlier than usual. Sarah had dinner on the table and waited for him to sit down before she asked calmly, "Honey, did you see the honeymoon itinerary Jessica sent today? She sent it to me. I assume you got it too?" Michael shoveled a large spoonful of soup into his mouth and replied nonchalantly, "Oh, yeah, I saw it. She showed it to me. Looks incredible, doesn't it? She's really got great taste." Incredible? Are you serious right now? Did you see the price tag at the bottom of that spreadsheet? It's $18,000, Michael. Their honeymoon costs nearly 20 grand. As Sarah's voice rose, Michael put down his fork with an annoyed sigh. For a European trip, that sounds about right. Business class, 5-star hotels. That stuff adds up. Why are you always so obsessed with money? It makes you sound cheap. Sounds about right? It's all business class and luxury suites. She's talking about a professor's wife's dignity. But isn't this really about her wanting to live like a queen on my dime? Don't you think we need to consider our own financial situation? Sarah shot back. Michael shifted uncomfortably. What's wrong with our situation? You're a senior manager at a top tech company. What's your salary? Like $200K. Why are you sweating over 18 grand? It's a once-in-a-lifetime trip for Jessica. Can't you just let it go for once? I'm tired. On Wednesday evening, the phone rang again. It was Brenda. "Sarah, dear, I need you to free up some time this weekend and come over. We need to discuss the specifics of Jessica's trip." Her voice was soft, but it carried an undercurrent of pressure that allowed for no refusal. After a moment's hesitation, Sarah replied curtly, "Fine. I'll be there." Saturday afternoon found Sarah and Michael once again seated in the in-laws' living room. Jessica was already there, with travel brochures and duty-free catalogs spread across the coffee table. "Oh, Sarah, you're here. Come, sit. I'm having such a hard time deciding between a few things. I really need your input," Jessica chirped, greeting Sarah with a bright smile as if she were paying for the trip herself. With a heavy heart, Sarah sat down. Her mother-in-law brought out tea and steered the conversation. "So, everyone's seen the itinerary, right? What do you think?" "I think it's just wonderfully planned. Our daughter has such a discerning eye." "Yes, Brenda. The itinerary is very glamorous," Sarah began carefully. "But, if you don't mind me saying something," as Sarah spoke, the eyes of both Brenda and Jessica locked onto her. "Go on. Is there a problem?" "I just feel the budget is a bit excessive. $18,000 is a huge amount of money for anyone with a regular job. Perhaps we could look at adjusting the plan a little?" At Sarah's suggestion, Jessica tilted her head. "Adjust it? How?" "Yes, Sarah. It's a honeymoon. The last thing they need is to be exhausted from roughing it," Brenda said, her tone firm. "And the hotels are the same. A professor's wife can't be staying in some cheap motel. There's a certain image to uphold." Jessica added her own snide remark. "I understand what you're saying, Sarah, but a wedding really is a once-in-a-lifetime event. I'm over 40 and finally getting married. I want to do it right, like everyone else. I'm sure even when you went to the Florida Keys for your honeymoon, you enjoyed it, right? You were happy to go then. So why are you being so strict with me now?" Jessica's sharp words felt like a punch to the gut. The air grew thick with tension. Michael, sitting beside Sarah, nudged her arm and whispered, "Come on, honey, look how excited they are. Let's not make a scene. Just go along with it this time, okay? Go along with it? It's $18,000. Do you think that money just grows on trees?" Sarah hissed back. Michael quickly averted his gaze. Brenda let out a deep sigh, putting on a pitiful expression. "Sarah, I'm not forcing you. It's your decision to make. But I just wish you'd consider Jessica's situation." "Brenda, that's not it. I'm just saying the amount is unreasonable." "What do you mean, that's not it?" Brenda's voice turned icy. "You're standing in the way of my daughter's happiness." Just then, Jessica started to tear up, her performance beginning. It's okay, Mom. If it's too much for Sarah, I'll find another way. If I have to, I'll just take out another loan in my name. My credit score will take a hit. But what else can I do? A loan? Jessica, you just finished paying off all that credit card debt. You can't take out another loan. You'll ruin yourself. Brenda exclaimed dramatically. Hearing this, Sarah's heart sank. Just last year, she had been the one to co-sign the consolidation loan to pay off Jessica's $40,000 of debt. If Jessica took on more debt now, the fallout would inevitably land on her. Brenda seized the opportunity, looking directly at Sarah and pressing her advantage. You see, Sarah, if she takes out another loan, it's only a matter of time before she defaults. You co-sign for her. If that happens, it's going to affect you too. Just help her out this one time. Be generous. Michael, too, shamelessly grabbed Sarah's hand and pleaded. Honey, just this once. Look, she's crying. As her older brother, it breaks my heart. With your salary, you can make this back in no time. Please? Sarah yanked her hand away. If she can't afford it, the logical thing to do is to scale back the plan. Why is she insisting on a luxury trip and then expecting me to pay for it? Is this what you call a family? Sarah, that's a horrible thing to say. I've dreamed of this trip my entire life. Jessica shrieked, bursting into full-blown sobs. Brenda delivered her ultimatum with a cold, hard expression. Sarah, you're a senior manager at a major corporation. We all know you can afford this. If you can't even do this much for family, then what's the point of being family at all? I'm very disappointed in you. Sarah's hand trembled as she set down her teacup. The conversation was a dead end. Her in-laws had surrounded her like a pack of hungry hyenas. Fine, she heard herself say, the word tasting like ash. I'll take care of it. The moment the words left her mouth, Jessica's tears vanished as if by magic. A radiant smile broke across her face as she squeezed Sarah's hand tightly. Really, Sarah? Oh, you're the best. I knew I could count on you. Sarah forced a smile, fighting back the urge to vomit. A few days later, another text arrived from Jessica. Hey, Sarah. I'm trying to book the flights and hotels, but it says I've exceeded my credit card limit. Could you book everything on your card for now? We can sort out changing the name on the reservation later. Sarah gripped her phone, her knuckles turning white. The screen seemed to tremble in her hand. The request, which was actually a demand, meant that the entire financial burden was now officially being transferred to her name. The gates of hell had just swung wide open. Late that night, Sarah sat on the edge of her bed, her hands shaking as she opened her credit card app. The available balance displayed on the screen was just over $5,000. It was nowhere near enough to cover the $18,000 Jessica was demanding. So, she expects me to take out a loan in my name. Is this really happening? Sarah sighed deeply, tossing her phone onto the nightstand. Just then, the bedroom door creaked open, and Michael shuffled in, looking disheveled. Honey, you're still up? Did you get Jessica's travel booked? She texted earlier. Said you had to book it fast before the hotel rooms were gone. Michael's cluelessness sent a surge of anger through Sarah. Book it? My credit limit is only $5,000. How am I supposed to charge $18,000? I think my head is going to explode, trying to figure out if I should take out a loan. Michael plopped onto the bed and said dismissively, A loan? What's the big deal? Your company offers those low-interest personal loans for employees, right? Just use that. It'll be quick. What? Are you out of your mind? You want me to borrow $18,000 in my name to pay for your sister's vacation? Whose money do you think that is? At Sarah's sharp response, Michael turned his back to her. I'm just saying we need to put out the immediate fire. Jessica will pay you back when she can. Why do you have to be so difficult with family? Pay me back? Ha, that's a laugh. When did your sister ever pay back the $40,000 she borrowed before? Did you forget I paid that off from my own salary? Cutting back on my own spending? You swore up and down back then that you'd make sure she paid it back. That was different. She was in a really bad spot then. Now she's marrying a professor. Her situation has changed. Why do you have to keep bringing up the past and making everyone feel bad? Michael's voice grew louder. How is it different? When I paid off that $40,000, did your sister even say a proper thank you? All I heard was how lucky she was to have a capable sister-in-law and how she knew her brother would take care of it. She acted like she was entitled to it, don't you remember? Faced with Sarah's cold, hard facts, Michael had no response. He pulled the covers over his head and pretended to snore. Alone in the darkness, Sarah clenched her fists. The painful reality settled in. To this family, her value was nothing more than being a high-earning daughter-in-law. Nothing more, nothing less. When the weekend came, the summons from her in-laws was inevitable. This time, it was a command to go shopping for Jessica's wedding jewelry. Sarah desperately wanted a weekend to herself, but she couldn't refuse Brenda's insistent call. At a high-end jewelry counter in Bloomingdale's, a lavishly dressed Brenda and Jessica were already browsing. "Sarah, over here. Come look at this. Isn't it just breathtaking?" Jessica called out, waving a hand adorned with a large diamond ring. "It's beautiful. It looks great on you," Sarah replied with a lifeless smile. Brenda asked the sales clerk for the price. "This piece, with the main diamond and setting, is $4,800. "Ma'am, my goodness, $4,800 for a ring? That's a bit steep, isn't it?" "Sarah, what do you think?" Brenda said, glancing at Sarah out of the corner of her eye. Jessica pouted, fiddling with the ring. "Mom, I don't care about anything else, but I have to have this ring. It's my wedding. I need at least one proper piece of jewelry so I don't look pathetic." Brenda, feigning a dilemma, suddenly turned the tables on Sarah. "You know, Sarah, that reminds me. How much was the wedding set I got for you when you got married? Do you remember?" Sarah recalled the bitter memory. "The ring and necklace set was about $2,000, I think. You said the budget was tight, so I didn't complain." "Yes, $2,000 was a lot of money back then. With today's inflation, that's easily over $3,000. You were more than fortunate to receive that as a daughter-in-law," Brenda said, rationalizing her own past stinginess. Jessica sneered. "You're so frugal, Sarah. How could you be satisfied with a $2,000 wedding set? I could never show my face at a faculty wives gathering, wearing something so cheap. I guess it's a good thing you don't have expensive taste." Sarah's face hardened at Jessica's rude comment, but Jessica, oblivious, just smiled brightly and admired the ring on her finger. After the jewelry store, the three of them moved to a nearby cafe. Brenda took a sip of her coffee and got straight to the point. "So, Jessica, is the honeymoon booking confirmed yet? You'll be in big trouble if you lose those flights. I haven't been able to book it. Sarah's credit card is maxed out. I'm just waiting for her loan to be approved," Jessica said, framing it as if Sarah were the one holding things up and causing an inconvenience. Brenda's eyes narrowed as she scolded Sarah. "Your limit is maxed out? You're a senior manager at a major corporation. How can someone who earns so much have such a low credit limit? Are you being irresponsible with your money?" "Brenda, the trip costs $18,000. My credit limit is higher, but after our monthly mortgage payments and the kids' insurance premiums, I only have about $5,000 of available credit." "Then do as Michael said and get a loan from your company. What does it matter whose name it's in? We're family. Whether it's in your name or my name. What's the difference?" Sarah was flabbergasted by her mother-in-law's shameless logic. "What do you mean it doesn't matter? I'm the one borrowing the money, but who's going to pay it back? When I paid off Jessica's $40,000 debt, I borrowed it in my name and paid it all back with my salary. That's still a huge financial burden for me. That's in the past. Why are you bringing that up now to make a point? Are you trying to be petty?" Brenda slammed her teacup on the saucer. "You couldn't even give this family a son to carry on the name. The least you could do is spend some money to earn your keep." The venomous words struck Sarah like a physical blow. She felt the air leave her lungs. Biting her lip, she grabbed her bag and stood up, walking out of the cafe without a backward glance. But the torment wasn't over. A few days later, she received a call from Kevin, a high school friend of Michael's who also knew Jessica. "Sarah? It's Kevin. Listen, I'm calling because Jessica called me and she was crying her eyes out. She said that just because you make good money, you're looking down on the whole family and using money to rank people. Is that true?" "That's not right, Sarah." Sarah's hand, holding the phone, trembled with rage. Jessica was painting her as a villain to their mutual acquaintances, waging a smear campaign. Feeling too drained to even defend herself, Sarah hung up. She collapsed onto the living room floor as hot tears streamed down her face. Why? Why do I have to be treated like this? Why is my life, the one I built, become their feeding ground? In the darkness, Sarah made a vow. The mask of the good daughter-in-law, the capable sister-in-law, she was done with it. She decided to become the villain they all wanted her to be. Her eyes, burning with a cold fire, promised a reckoning. It was the day of the gathering to celebrate Jessica's engagement. and the in-laws' living room was packed with a dozen relatives, buzzing with cheerful laughter. Amidst the chaos, Sarah sat quietly in a corner, an outsider in her own family, tracing the rim of her teacup. Oh, our Jessica is really something else. We were so worried about her getting married over 40. But to a university professor. I always said she had the look of a professor's wife. And she did it. A relative gushed. Jessica, wearing the smile of the world's happiest bride-to-be, replied, "Oh, Auntie, you're too much. Being a professor is nothing special. I just chose him because he's a good person. His parents are so cultured, and their family atmosphere is just like ours." Her mother, Brenda, who was peeling fruit nearby, added proudly, "That's right. She might be marrying late, but we're planning to send her off in a style that no one can look down on. Her honeymoon won't be some cheap trip to the Caribbean like everyone else. They're going to Europe for a long vacation." Europe? My goodness. With the prices and exchange rates these days, that must cost a fortune. Jessica must have saved up quite a bit. As a relative, asked the question, Jessica glanced pointedly at Sarah and raised her voice. "Oh, no, I don't have any money. My wonderful sister-in-law, Sarah, graciously offered to help out. A senior manager at a top tech company really operates on a different level, you know." Sarah nearly choked on her tea. In an instant, all eyes in the room turned to her. Wow, what an amazing sister-in-law. Who pays for their sister-in-law's honeymoon these days? She's a real treasure. Kids today are so selfish, but our Sarah has a heart of gold. Michael really hit the jackpot when he married her, the relatives chimed in. Sarah forced a smile, scrambling for something to say. But Jessica's rampage wasn't over. "But, Auntie, to be honest, Sarah has been finding it a bit burdensome lately. The cost is around $18,000. And she keeps asking if we can't just downgrade the business class seats or the hotels." I told her, a professor's wife can't be seen flying economy. She earns such a high salary. You'd think she wouldn't mind showing off a little, but it's like it pains her. I was quite hurt, to be honest. The atmosphere in the room instantly chilled. The relatives started exchanging awkward glances, looking at Sarah. Well, $18,000 is a lot of money. I can see how that might be a bit much. One relative ventured cautiously. Jessica scoffed. With her salary? Please. She's not worried about $18,000. I think she's just trying to teach me a lesson. Acting like helping family is such a monumental favor. Having had enough, Sarah slammed her teacup down on the table, the sharp sound cutting through the chatter. She looked directly at Jessica. "Jessica, what you're saying is completely out of line. When did I ever confirm that I would pay for the entire trip?" Unfazed, Jessica laughed brightly. "Oh, Sarah, what are you talking about? When Mom asked, you said you would take care of it. Are you really going to pretend you don't remember, in front of all our relatives? What your mother demanded, and what I voluntarily agreed to are two entirely different things. I made it very clear that the itinerary you planned was beyond common sense and far beyond what I could afford." Wow, Sarah, you're unbelievable. Are you saying, right here and now, that you're not going to help? The professor's family already knows all about this. Are you trying to publicly humiliate me? Jessica's voice turned sharp and venomous. Brenda jumped in, feigning a gentle tone. "Sarah, Jessica can be a bit blunt and immature, but she doesn't mean any harm. Don't be so sensitive. We're family. We shouldn't be fighting over something like this." "Brenda, this isn't about being sensitive. This is about my sister-in-law announcing something I never agreed to as fact in front of everyone and painting me as a stingy person. Her behavior is what's wrong here." Jessica crossed her arms and sneered. "Oh, I see what's happening. You just want everyone to praise you for your generosity, don't you? You're never going to let us forget that you paid off my $40,000 debt, and now you're going to hold this $18,000 over my head forever. Is it really so painful to help your own family?" Whispers erupted around the room. The sister-in-law does seem a bit uptight. Bringing up money like that just creates bad blood. Sarah's entire body trembled with humiliation and rage. "I'm sorry, but I have to leave. I'm not feeling well." As Sarah grabbed her bag to stand up, Brenda glared at her. "Where are you going? The adults haven't even finished their meal yet. How rude. Before you lecture me on manners, maybe you should focus on teaching your daughter some basic decency." "Excuse me." Sarah walked out the front door without a backward glance. From behind her, she could hear her mother-in-law's screeching voice. "Look at her. That temper. Thinks she's all that just because she makes a little money. On the way home, she tried calling Michael repeatedly, but he didn't answer. She sent a text. "Where are you? Do you have any idea what just happened at your parents' house?" An hour passed with no reply. Finally, around 11 p.m., a short text came through. "At a happy hour. Going for another round with the team. We'll be late." Michael eventually stumbled home after 4 a.m., reeking of alcohol. Sarah, pretending to be asleep, lay in the darkness with her eyes wide open. Is this really the marriage I dreamed of? What am I to this family? The next afternoon, Brenda called again. "Sarah, I was a bit harsh yesterday." Jessica cried all night because she was so upset. "You really hurt her feelings by being so serious about her childish words." Childish words? Brenda? Does being childish give her a free pass to make me look like a fool? I felt utterly humiliated by your daughter yesterday. Oh, for heaven's sake, why are you so sensitive? Are things at work stressful, or are you not feeling well? Can't you just let things slide for the sake of family? You shouldn't nitpick every little thing. It's my $18,000 on the line. Is standing up for myself now considered being sensitive? At Sarah's retort, Brenda scoffed and hung up the phone. Sarah collapsed onto her bed. Her mother-in-law was manipulating everyone behind her back, painting her as a crazy person, while her husband, who had already broken her trust with his infidelity, stood by and did nothing. Sarah opened the Notes app on her phone again, her fingers trembling as she typed. December 5th. Public humiliation by sister-in-law and shameless complicity from mother-in-law. Husband's late night out and complete irresponsibility. A coordinated campaign to paint me as an oversensitive menopausal woman. It's time to send the invoice for all this pain. Wiping a tear from her cheek, Sarah stared at her reflection in the dark screen. The nice Sarah is gone. I'll show you exactly what the cruel, sensitive daughter-in-law you created is truly capable of. Her gaze was colder and more determined than ever before. On a Friday evening, while sorting through her husband Michael's laundry as usual, Sarah froze in front of the washing machine. A hard plastic card had fallen out of his suit jacket pocket. Picking it up from the floor, Sarah's eyes turned to ice. It was a room key card for the Park Hyatt, a luxury hotel in Manhattan. The back of the card clearly displayed the hotel's logo and a room number. She stood there for a long moment, the card clutched in her hand. In the past, her heart would have been pounding, and tears would have instantly sprung to her eyes. But this time was different. She felt numb, almost beyond anger. In fact, she felt a strange sense of relief, a feeling of, so, it finally happened again. Calmly, Sarah took out her phone and opened the shared credit card app. Scrolling through the recent transactions, she found it. A charge for exactly $450 from the hotel, dated last Thursday night. Sarah placed the key card squarely in the center of the living room coffee table. Then, without turning on any lights, she sat on the sofa and waited. Just after 10 p.m., the sound of the keypad lock turning broke the silence. Michael walked in, loosening his tie. He stopped short, startled to see Sarah sitting in the dark. "Whoa, you scared me. Honey, why are you sitting here with all the lights off? Did you eat?" Instead of answering, Sarah gestured with her chin toward the key card on the table. Michael's gaze followed hers, and the color drained from his face. He froze, his expression turning to one of pure panic. What's this doing here?" "There's no need to explain. I already checked the credit card statement from last Thursday. Let's not waste energy on pathetic excuses." Sarah's voice was chillingly calm. Michael's legs seemed to give out as he sank onto the armchair opposite her. And then, he began the same tired, old script. "I'm sorry, Sarah. I'm so sorry. I don't know what came over me." That old line again. The one I've heard so many times my ears are tired of it. It's true this time. It was just a stupid mistake. I was entertaining clients. Things got out of hand. I swear, I will never, ever do it again. Please, just trust me one more time." He pleaded, his head bowed low. Sarah let out a cold, humorless laugh. "I heard those exact same words last year. And the year before that. Did you really think I wouldn't notice your pattern?" She turned on her phone and held the screen right in front of Michael's face. The Secret Notes app was open, displaying a detailed log of his transgressions, organized by date and time. November 2022, October 2023, and now, November again. Isn't it strange? It's like clockwork. The moment the weather turns cold, you repeat the same disgusting behavior. Why do you think I kept this record? Michael's hands trembled as he stared at the screen. You knew all this time? Why would you do something so creepy? Creepy. You think my record keeping is creepy, but your actions are just… What? A mistake? This isn't just a diary, Michael. This is evidence. Evidence for a divorce that will legally and completely end you. The word divorce made Michael jump to his feet. Divorce? Over one little mistake? Are you serious? You're going to throw away 20 years just like that? Just give me one more chance. A chance? I've already given you 3 chances. And while you were throwing those chances away in a hotel bed, I was here, in this house, serving as a walking ATM for your family, trying to keep them happy. For the first time, Sarah's voice trembled with emotion. Michael reached for her hand, but she snatched it away as if he were toxic. Your betrayal isn't just about the cheating. You never once stood up for me as my husband. When your mother treated my salary like her personal piggy bank, making outrageous demands. When your sister stood in front of all our relatives and painted me as a greedy, money-obsessed monster. Where were you? You always just shut your mouth and ran away. You were just a bystander. That's a family issue. It's separate from the affair. Do you have any idea how much pressure I was under, caught in the middle? Separate? No, the root cause is the same. You have never, not once, valued me as a person. You just needed a convenient tool, one that filled your wallet and maintained your family's image. Well, I quit. Sarah walked into the bedroom and locked the door. Michael pounded on it, begging her to open it, but she covered her ears and surrendered to the darkness. The next morning, after a stormy night, her mother-in-law called. Sarah, it's me. Is Jessica's honeymoon flight and hotel booked yet? The wedding is just around the corner. Why haven't we heard anything? Sarah looked out the window at the bleak autumn sky and answered in a monotone. I haven't booked it. In fact, I have no reason to book it anymore. What? Still? Are you really this petty? Is the thought of her flying business class so offensive to you? You need to book it now, so Jessica can save face. At Brenda's venomous tone, Sarah let out a hollow laugh. Brenda, my family's situation has become very complicated. I no longer have the luxury of paying for someone else's honeymoon. From now on, my salary will be used for me, and only me. Are you out of your mind? How dare you speak to family this way? Are you going to book it or not? Are you kidding me? Your son's affair is about to blow our family to pieces, and you're worried about your daughter's business class tickets. I'm divorcing Michael. So, as for that fabulous honeymoon, Jessica can take out a loan, or you can sell your house. Figure it out yourselves. On the other end of the line, Sarah could hear Brenda gasping in shock. Divorce? How dare you even utter such a vulgar word? Have you lost your mind? Yes, maybe I have. I must have been insane to put up with being your family's parasite for 20 years. But that insanity ends now. Sarah hung up and turned off her phone. A moment later, the bedroom door opened. Michael, who had been sprawled on the living room floor, scrambled over and dropped to his knees. Sarah, Mom just called me. What are you doing? Do you have to be so extreme? What if her blood pressure spikes and she collapses? Even now, all you can think about is your family. The pain I've endured, the tears I've cried, they mean nothing to you, do they? If you had made any real effort to fix this, that hotel key card would never have been in my sight yesterday. You are nothing but an irresponsible, cowardly bystander. Sarah pulled a thick envelope of divorce papers, which she had already obtained from a lawyer, from a drawer and threw them in front of him. I've put up with this for 20 years. That's long enough. Go live happily ever after with your mother and your sister. Oh, and for Jessica's honeymoon fund, maybe you can cash out your 401k early. Sarah, please. Just one more. Leaving Michael's desperate cries behind her, Sarah grabbed her coat and walked out of the house. He called her name, pleading, but her steps were lighter and more resolute than they had ever been. The heavy yoke she had carried for 2 decades was finally, truly, being lifted. It was a stormy Monday morning, but Sarah walked into her office looking as composed as ever in a crisp business suit. As the lunch hour approached, she pulled a business card from her desk drawer, the travel agent's, and made a call. Her voice was steady, her hand unshaken. Yes, hello. I'm calling to confirm a reservation. After providing the details, the agent replied, Yes, ma'am, I have it right here. A suite at the Rome Cavalieri and business class seats to Paris are confirmed. How can I help you? Sarah gazed out at the expansive sky from her office window. I need to cancel that entire booking, effective immediately. The flights, the hotels, the local tours cancel every last bit of it. The agent's surprised voice came through the receiver. Ma'am, are you sure? The departure date is very soon. If you cancel now, there will be a cancellation fee of $2,500. Is that acceptable? These are also very popular routes, so rebooking would be nearly impossible. Yes, that's fine. Cancel the whole thing. I'm aware of the fee. Just refund the remaining balance to my account. During the few minutes of silence, while the agent processed the cancellation, Sarah felt a tight knot in her chest finally begin to dissolve. All right, ma'am, the cancellation is complete. After the $2,500 fee, a refund of $15,500 will be credited to your account within 3 to 5 business days. After a brief thank you, Sarah ended the call. The calculation was simple. It was far better to lose $2,500 to buy her freedom than to spend $18,000 to feed a pack of parasites. When she returned home that evening, she found Michael pacing anxiously in the living room. The moment he saw her, he forced a weak smile. Honey, you're home. Should we go out for dinner? About what we talked about yesterday. I really think divorce is too drastic. 20 years is a long time. It's not a joke. Sarah set down her bag and replied coolly. It's precisely because 20 years isn't a joke that I made this decision. In all that time, you never once cherished me. Oh, and I have some more news for you. News? Is it something good? A flicker of hope appeared in Michael's eyes. Your sister's honeymoon. I canceled all of it this afternoon. The flights, the luxury hotel suites, everything, gone. The blood drained from Michael's face. He staggered backward, as if he'd been struck. What? You canceled it? Are you insane? Jessica's wedding is just days away. They're supposed to be getting on a plane. You canceled their trip? I booked it with my money, under my name. What's the problem with me canceling it? Jessica wanted to go to Europe so badly. I'm sure she can find a way to book it herself with her own money. At Sarah's indifferent tone, Michael clutched his head and screamed. What are you going to tell my mother? Jessica is probably packing her bags for the airport right now. You are a cruel, cruel woman. You can explain it to them. It has nothing to do with me anymore. Think of the $2,500 cancellation fee as a cheap price to pay for a life lesson. Sarah walked past him toward the bedroom. She could hear him screaming behind her. You just threw away $2,500? Are you out of your mind? But she felt so good she could have hummed a tune. Wednesday morning at the check-in counter at JFK Airport was a scene of pure chaos. Jessica, dressed in a flamboyant airport fashion outfit, stood beside her fiancé, her smile frozen in place as she listened to the airline employee. Ma'am, I am so sorry, but this reservation number was canceled in its entirety on Monday by the primary cardholder. There are currently no tickets under your name. Canceled? That's impossible. My sister-in-law booked everything for me. Check again. Jessica shrieked, drawing the sharp, uncomfortable stares of her fiancé and his family. The faces of her soon-to-be in-laws, who were supposed to be from a respectable, academic family, were masks of shock and embarrassment. What is going on here? The honeymoon wasn't even booked? Her fiancé demanded. Jessica, unable to answer, collapsed onto her suitcase and began to wail. My sister-in-law, that evil woman, she finally did it. She was determined to ruin my wedding. At that exact moment, Sarah was in a conference room at her company, reviewing the quarterly budget with her team. For this quarter, I want all non-essential expenditures cut, starting immediately. Any expense without a clear and compelling justification will not be approved for even a single dollar. Is that clear? Sarah's firm directive was met with nods from her team. When lunchtime arrived, she turned her phone back on. There were dozens of missed calls from her in-laws, but her expression didn't change as she deleted the entire call log. Then, she joined her junior colleagues for lunch at a trendy new restaurant she'd been wanting to try. That evening, the moment she unlocked her front door, Michael's roar erupted from inside. Why haven't you been answering your phone? Because of you. Jessica was completely humiliated at the airport and is about to have her engagement called off. Her fiancé's family is calling her a con artist. The phone was off because I didn't want to be bothered, Sarah said calmly. Whether she's humiliated or her engagement is off is her problem. Tell her to consider it the price she pays for trying to live a life of luxury on someone else's dime. You're a monster, a truly terrifying woman. How could you do this to family? It's morally bankrupt. Sarah took off her shoes and stared directly at Michael. Morality? That's a word you have no right to use. The man who has cheated for years and enabled his family to leech off his wife's wallet wants to lecture me on morals? I'm done with all of you, so shut your mouth. Just then, Michael's phone rang. It was his mother. He put it on speaker, and Brenda's hysterical screaming filled the room. You wicked witch. Jessica fainted on the floor of the airport and had to be taken away. Are you even human? You get over there and apologize, and you buy her new tickets right now. Sarah snatched the phone from Michael's hand and spoke into it, her voice like ice. Brenda, I believe I made myself clear. I am no longer this family's daughter-in-law. I don't care if she faints or not. And, by the way, I filed for divorce. You'll be receiving papers from the court soon, so you'd better prepare yourselves. Sarah hung up and locked herself in the bedroom, leaving Michael standing there in stunned silence. Lying on her bed and staring at the ceiling, she felt a profound sense of liberation, as if a 20-year-old sickness had finally been cured. There were no tears. Instead, a triumphant laugh escaped her lips. I finally escaped from hell. For the first time in a long time, feeling as though she had reclaimed her own life, Sarah fell into a deep and sweet sleep. At 11 p.m., Sarah's phone rang. It was Brenda. Sarah pressed the record button before answering. You apologize to Jessica right now. Brenda screamed without any greeting. Leaning back against her pillows, Sarah replied, I have nothing to apologize for. Nothing to apologize for? You ruined her life. What did I ruin? I canceled a reservation that was made with my money. Sarah's voice was placid. Brenda sputtered, catching her breath. Your money? Do you think all the money you earn is yours? You were only able to earn it because of my son. What are you talking about? I got to be a senior manager because of my own abilities. Abilities? Do you think that would have been possible if you didn't have a husband supporting you at home? Brenda sneered. Sarah checked to make sure the recording was clear. Supporting me? What exactly has Michael done for me? You mean how he allowed me the privilege of not doing housework? And how the in-laws didn't give me too much grief? I did all the housework, the cleaning, the laundry, the cooking, all of it. And from you, I received nothing but unreasonable demands. Sarah countered calmly. Brenda's voice rose to a shriek. Unreasonable demands? Is helping your family an unreasonable demand? You are a cold-hearted snake. Not cold-hearted. Just setting boundaries. Boundaries? What boundaries are there in a family? You are a part of this family. Not for much longer, Sarah replied coolly. The divorce papers are being filed. The line went dead. Sarah saved the audio file. 10 minutes later, a call came from Jessica. Again, Sarah started recording. Sarah, why are you doing this to me? Jessica's voice was thick with tears. Staring out the window, Sarah answered. Why am I doing what? You mean canceling the trip? Yes. What am I supposed to do now? My fiancé's family thinks I'm a liar. That's not my responsibility. The problem was you taking for granted that a reservation made in my name was yours to enjoy. Jessica burst into sobs. You're not human. How can you ruin my wedding and not even care? I didn't ruin it. You can just book the trip yourself. With what money? You promised you would help. Jessica screamed. Checking the recording icon, Sarah replied, When did I promise that? If you have proof, show it to me. Proof? You told Mom you would take care of it. Saying I would take care of it is not the same as agreeing to pay for it. I never gave my explicit consent. Sarah's tone was firm. Jessica grew hysterical. You are the most selfish person I have ever met. You only care about money. Only care about money? Do you not remember the $40,000 I paid off for you? You only did that to hold it over my head. Did I ask you to? At Jessica's words, a small, dark laugh escaped Sarah's lips. The recording was capturing everything perfectly. To hold it over you? You were about to have your wages garnished. And for the record, I never once received a proper thank you. Jessica hung up. At 2 a.m., a call came from Michael's cousin. Sarah started another recording. Sarah, this is your cousin-in-law, David. Things are a mess over here. I'm aware. Can you just calm down and reconsider? Do we really need to take things this far as a family? David's tone was conciliatory. Are you suggesting I should just let everything be swept under the rug in the name of family? I'm not saying that. I'm saying we should try to understand each other. You need to be a little more patient. I was patient for 20 years. That's enough. But think of Jessica's situation. She's about to get married. Imagine how hard this is for her. You're all thinking about Jessica's situation, but has anyone thought about mine? But you're financially stable, Sarah. You can afford to help out. Being financially stable doesn't mean my money is a free-for-all for anyone to take. I have my own plans for my life, Sarah said, her voice hard. David sighed. You're going to get a bad reputation with the relatives. They'll say you're cold. Let them. I don't care. She hung up and saved the file. At 3 a.m., Brenda called again, her voice trembling. Sarah, I'm begging you. Please, just help Jessica. Recording again, Sarah replied calmly. Your pleas won't work on me anymore. Then what do you want? Is it money? I'll give you money, Brenda said, her voice desperate. Sarah scoffed. Money? What money do you have? Besides your social security checks? That's none of your business, isn't it? Then you should never have made my money your business in the first place. Brenda's voice cracked. You are so ungrateful. Do you have any idea what a favor I did you by accepting you as my daughter-in-law? A favor? What exactly did I receive by joining this family? Nothing but disrespect and unreasonable demands. Disrespect? When did I ever disrespect you? Every time you told relatives I was being oversensitive. Is that not disrespect? That's because it's true. You have been incredibly sensitive lately. I'm not being sensitive. I am reacting appropriately to being taken advantage of. You are the one twisting the narrative. Brenda began to cry. You're so cold. How can you be so cold to your own family? I'm not being cold. I'm setting a boundary. Because I have a life to live, too. Sarah hung up and switched her phone to airplane mode. The next morning, she saw 150 missed calls. Brenda, Jessica, Michael, and a host of relatives. She checked the audio files. All perfectly saved. They would be perfect evidence. On her way to work, she texted her lawyer. Audio files are ready. I can drop them off this afternoon. The reply came quickly. Perfect. This will be extremely advantageous in court. Sarah put her phone in her bag, a sense of relief washing over her. It's really over. She had no intention of ever looking back. On Friday morning, Sarah filed the divorce petition at the county courthouse. Are you seeking equitable distribution of assets? The clerk asked. Yes. All assets acquired during the marriage that are under my name, I intend to keep. And alimony? No, but I am petitioning for damages. I have attached supporting evidence of my spouse's repeated infidelity. She handed over a thick file. The clerk's eyes widened. This is quite comprehensive. This should be more than sufficient. Your filing is complete. Walking out of the courthouse, Sarah took a deep breath. The sky had never looked so clear. Back at work, a junior colleague remarked at lunch, You look so much happier these days, Sarah. I am. She smiled. Did something good happen? Yes, Sarah said, sipping her coffee. I'm finally putting down a very heavy burden. When she got home, Michael was waiting for her, his eyes red and swollen. I got a call from the court. You actually filed. Yes. This morning. He stood up, his voice cracking. Are you really doing this? Please, just think about it one more time. I've had 20 years to think about it. Tell me what I did wrong. I'll fix it, I swear. There's too much to fix. The cheating, the neglect, the irresponsibility. You'd have to fix your entire character. And you have no intention of doing that. I do. I'll change. He reached for her hand, but she pulled away. It's too late. I don't trust you anymore. As she moved toward the bedroom, he blocked the door. You're petitioning for the assets and damages. What does that leave me with? Anything in your name is yours. Don't worry. Don't worry? The house is in your name. The savings accounts are in your name, he yelled. Sarah smirked. I wonder why that is. Maybe it's because I always knew you'd waste money and cheat on me. You planned this from the beginning? She nodded. I started preparing 10 years ago. Every time you cheated, apologized, and did it again, I took another step. Michael collapsed onto the floor in defeat. Sarah looked down at him. You thought I was just enduring it. But I wasn't. I was preparing. A month later, at the divorce mediation, Sarah and her lawyer met Michael and his. He looked haggard. Honey, it's not too late, he whispered. It is. It's over, she said coldly. The mediation was swift. Sarah's lawyer presented the meticulously documented evidence of financial contribution. Sarah was responsible for 80% of the household's accumulated wealth and the proof of infidelity. 3 hours later, it was settled. Sarah would keep the house and the majority of the assets. Michael was ordered to pay $50,000 in damages. As she left the room, he called her name. Sarah. She didn't turn around. Is this really the end? 20 years ends just like this? He cried out behind her. She stopped and looked back at him one last time. You ended it. It ended every time you cheated, every time you stood by and did nothing to protect me. You only ever offered excuses, never real change. She turned and walked away for good. A month after the divorce was finalized, Sarah moved into a new apartment downtown. The view of the sunset from her window was spectacular. For the first time in 20 years, she had a space that was entirely her own. No one to please, no unreasonable demands, no betrayal. She sat on her new sofa, sipping tea. A profound feeling of peace settled over her. This is the real beginning, she whispered to herself. A tear rolled down her cheek, but for the first time in a long time, it wasn't a tear of sorrow. It was a tear of freedom,